Okay, here we go, guys. We got 6 individual boxes, and I wish I had a tripod attachment for my phone. I thought I did, but I don't. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this one-handed, and meanwhile, I will go onto Amazon and order a camera attachment for the top of my tripod so that I can do this hands-free. So I blacked out my address. Okay, so what we have here is a bunch of vintage thread. Now, I've kind of been going on a vintage thread and sewing related buying spree lately in order to stock up my Etsy store with more products. I had a flash sale. I didn't have a flash sale. I sold an insane amount. I sold out of all of this multicolor stretch thread that people were using for their masks. But here we have got all of these boxes of vintage thread. And I will show you what these all look like individually here. There's a good box to ship with too, by the way. Okay, so this says Cotton Pearl DMC. This is from France, I believe. So I've got these little vintage rolls here. Now, I think these are, I don't know, 30 to 40 years old. Now, I'm gonna make an individual Etsy listing because I think that I have multiples of these, right? So I think these come in multiple colors. Yes, so here's the blue ones right here. And I'm hoping to somehow figure out how to date these. Okay, made in France. Now this has a stock number, etc., but I don't see a website. So this says 100% cotton. So without having a website, that leads me to believe that this is before the internet, which would have been before the 90s. So at least in the 80s. I'm gonna do a little bit of research. It's probably more like the 70s or the 60s based on the look and feel of the package. I might say the 70s. But again, I'm gonna look this up. I can look up art number 116. I can look up the DMC company, you know, in Paris. I can even look up this specific type. So this would be DMC 321, Cotton Pearl, 10 grams, 48 meters, 53 yards, etc. So I'm gonna find the website for this company. I'll do some research. So I've got the red ones, I've got the blue ones. I have got this thread. Now this was what was on the eBay photo. This is vintage as well. So this is a thread I believe that people use for crocheting. Now you can buy this stuff in the store now. You might recognize this because this is still sold looking like this today. But this is vintage, so this color might be hard to come by or it just might be a higher quality. But again, same company, just a different type of thread. And it's got this interesting indexing on the back here. So it doesn't, this looks like an inventory thing for the people that ran the store to keep track. It says date 8/19, and then it says remove for stock number 225, work order 196. So yeah, I think that this, so maybe this 8/1/85. So maybe this is August 1st, 1985. Let's see, do these say anything? 8/1/85, so August 1st, 85. This says 7/15/85, so July 15th. So these might be from the 80s, which is still vintage. The reason I'm wondering about that is because I want to be able to list these are literally vintage on Etsy. Now here's one with a bunch of pink ones in here. So this is, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pink spools of thread. We got here, this one is, what does this say? This doesn't have one of those interesting cards on the back that you saw in the other ones. So this one has more of those blues. Now I hope this camera's doing this justice. These are a little bit lighter blue than what I'm seeing in the camera here, but again, these are vintage, at least 30 years old, untouched. And here we have got even more of the blue. So plenty of blues here. Really fine quality. You can tell that this has just been kept in a really nice environment. Nothing has gotten in to eat at them, anything like that. Okay, Here we've got, I think that these are more of the little guys that I opened earlier. These might actually be those. No, okay. So this is interesting. This is in a completely different looking and feel box. And it's red, and this is blue. So I wonder if this is like a different type, different length, or if it's just bunched in. See what I mean? Like, these are substantially longer by at least an inch. So I'm thinking that they are either a different length or a different weight, or from a different company, even though these have the same label on them. Oh, here's a card on the back. So this says, what? January 8th, 1985. So, 666. Anyway, so that's those guys. And then we've got these, which is just more reds. So that's a very cool haul. I need to photograph all of these and make them look really pretty and throw them up on Etsy. Okay, moving on. So this is an auction that I got. I got this from, I think, maybe Hatman Auctions or Hatman. I doubt it's Hatman. But, oh yes, okay. So these are, I know exactly what these are. These are some vintage, very hard to find, very rare glass marbles, antique marbles from, I think, the early 1900s to late 1800s. I need to set the phone down for a second here. Okay, so here we go. Now here's one of them, and you can tell it's old. I don't know how to describe it to you, but you can definitely tell it's old. It's not shiny, it's been used, it's not clear. Like, I feel current modern marbles are very clear and shiny just from what I've seen. Now this one's shinier, but it's also old. You can tell that it's been used quite a bit. This one is beautifully shiny. It looks a lot like this one here, but this one is in really nice shape. And then we've got one more in here, which is really beautiful. It's got these blues and oranges and greens. Now, I don't know anything about marbles, so I'm going to either post these on eBay or post them on Etsy, and I might take an individual photo of each, and you can buy this one, you could buy that one, that one, that one, and just put variations on the listing. But yeah, so that's the marbles. It's very, very cool. I'd forgotten I got those, but I jumped at the opportunity to buy them when the auction came up. Okay, so let's do this bag next. So once again, I got an eBay order that I think I can turn into a profitable Etsy purchase or sale. So what I've got here, and let me set the phone down. Okay, so what I've got here is a little packet of vintage sewing thread. And again, this is old, you can tell. You can tell by the plastic wrap around it that's easily just disintegrating. And let's see, probably horrible for you to keep hearing all of this. One second. Okay, so here's this. Now, the eBay photos of this were really nice, and they did a good job of showing me the exact size, but you can see how itty-bitty this is and how fine that thread is. So this says made in USA, and this says S9 or 6S, 6 small maybe. I'm gonna do a little bit of research, and maybe the eBay listing actually tells me specifically what these are. But again, with these, I'm gonna make an individual listing for the black, an individual listing for this color, and an individual listing for this cream white color. And I'll say I have 6 in stock, and you can order as many as you want. So just adding to my vintage thread pile for my store I run is called Vintage Hobby Supplies. And so I supply a lot of craft and craft supplies and whatnot. So those are gonna do really well, hopefully. If not, I spent $5 on that auction. Okay, let's do this guy. So this one, okay, so I did a similar video earlier that you've already seen where I purchased some Cinnabar Skulls, and here's more of them. So I won 3 more auctions of Cinnabar Skulls, and these will go with the set that I already have. So I'm looking at about 50 or 60 of these total that I have now with this auction. I even bought more because the people that were doing this rock auction, it's like a 5 or 6 day auction, and they do like one day a week where they broke the auction up into multiple because there's so many pieces. So they keep doing more of this rock auction. So that's where I keep seeing these Cinnabar Skulls. And so yeah, so these are, people use these to make jewelry. There's little holes in the head for putting a bead through. Or they act as beads. You can see a little hole right there to screw the top of a thing in for jewelry. So I'm going to sell these on my craft store for making jewelry is the point. Okay, so those are going over there. And that one's done. Now let's look at this one. So this is another sewing supply order that I got off of eBay. And this one is, I'm really excited about. But it's a little bit more of kind of just a bunch of different things, and I want to be careful as to not unravel what is in there. But as you can see, we've got a lot of vintage spool. So this is a full roll of John Clark. Let's see, John Clark, June. Let's see, it looks like it's size 8. I can't read that with the light. But Clark's Mile End spool of cotton thread. So here's black. I've got one of those. I've got a second one of those right here. So 2 blacks. I've got this vintage crochet spool, which is really neat for crafting. This is Watertown Silk Company. So I'm going to sell that on Etsy. Might make an individual listing for that. And then I've just got a bunch of, vintage thread here. So this one is really cool. It's carved into the wood rather than a sticker label, and it says, what does that say? Beloin Hemingway Company? Beloing, Beloin Hemingway Company, silk thread, pure silk. So this is pure silk, whatever this color is. So that will be up on auction on Etsy. So will this. This is a lighter color of pure silk. Here is a green pure silk. Here is a black pure silk. And then I've got these little guys here. Now I'm gonna have to say in the listing that I don't know the exact length because these have unraveled a little bit. But again, we have got, okay, buttonhole twist, full size. And this says, oh, Belding Bros and Company. So this is, we got a bunch of these little guys, just a bunch of little spools of thread, which are going to be really fun to photograph, really, really vintage, really, really cool. I'm excited to get those up there. I went to eBay to start finding these because I wasn't finding anything on Etsy or on Auction Zip in the meantime. I haven't been finding very much vintage sewing supplies on Auction Zip, which is where I normally get everything. So here's the last thing, last unboxing. And I have no idea what this is, to be completely honest with you. But I do like that Prior to Mail makes these Prior to Mail boxes. I didn't know they made them in square like this, which is very handy. So let's see. So throw away the invoice. Oh yes, okay. So this is a mixed bag. This is really cool actually. So what I got in here, oh, this is very cool, very, very cool. See, the benefit of buying stuff late at night when you're tired is you forget what you bought, and then you get really excited when you open it again. Okay, so these are old hand-carved printer's blocks. Now, this says something, and I don't know what it says, but these are old wooden printer's blocks, and I can find out if I go to the auction website and I look and I see what they called it when they listed it, and then I can figure out what it actually is. So I'll pull this one out. Now this feels very light, very old. It's very light wood. And you can tell that it's just, you know, this says, this is the name of the auction house, $3. And I'm trying to tell what this pattern is. It looks like two people here maybe by a tree. You see that? It smells like ink, which is awesome. Now, I think I'm just going to sell these as they are. It would be cool to like use these in some form or another to make like maybe make my own prints with them, since these are antique, I think, even not even vintage. So this looks like a man sitting doing something, and there it looks like a halo or a wreath above his head. Do you see that? Carved out of wood. I can't tell what he's doing right here. Maybe he's not typing, he's not smoking. I can't tell what's going on there, and I may never. One may never. It might make more sense if it's actually printed, but again, I don't think I'm gonna print with these now that I think about it, because I don't want to ruin the vintageness. There might be a collector out there who loves these just the way they are. This one is interesting. It looks like the ink has dried here, but whoever owned this either cleaned it off or was using gold ink. But this looks like, you know, like a man and a woman, or you know, two wise men or something, and like a lantern up there in the corner. It's pretty cool. And then on the back, this is where it looks like this is a two-sided block. It must be a Christmas thing, because you've got these little Christmas bells here. And this might say something one's printed that makes sense, but I can't make it out. If you can make that out, let me know, because I cannot make this out. But I think this is a holiday thing. Maybe this is Joseph and Mary. I don't know. It makes me think now that maybe these are all three of these are Christmas blocks, or the holidays or something. Okay, well, cool old ink blocks there that are going to be fun to do a little research on and sell. Okay, so these here are some vintage metal stencils. And I'm going to cut. Now, I did not pay $15 for these. I paid, I think, $3 or $4 for all of these. But these are vintage, look like brass or bronze stencils, letter stencils. So we've got a dollar symbol, I think, or an S. We've got an and symbol, so that was $1. We've got an F. That's what they look like on the other side. We have got a Z. I don't know. G, B, I don't know. Q? Is that a weird, like a glyph? Okay, K, C. So you get the point. I've got a bunch of these little brass or bronze templates for printing, I guess, or for stencils. So that'll be cool. I'll probably list these either as a lot on eBay, or I don't know if it'd be worth listing these on Etsy as one listing, and then you pick your letter and I mail it to you. They might want to buy. Maybe that'll work. We'll see. Okay, last but not least, a bag full of vintage sewing supplies, which I'm excited to show you guys. Oh, okay. Well, there are a bunch of pins in here, vintage pins, which fell out of, I think, this box, Royal Ruth pins, and yes, that's exactly where these come from. So these are, I think people would use these, seamstresses and sewers, LOL, would use these to hold their clothes in place, you know, while they're doing sewing stuff. And I think these are two completely different, but they look identical, and I don't, brass rust-proof silk pins, I hope that was in camera, brass rust-proof silk pins, and these are Royal Ruth bank pins made of guaranteed super plated steel wire needle points. So I don't think I need to be mixing these. So I think that maybe these go with this, even though this is overflowing. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to do in this circumstance, to be honest. Maybe I'm just really honest in my listing and I say that I'm not sure if these are silk, you know, brass rust proof, or, you know, stainless steel needlepoint ones. I'm definitely not going to go through and pick out different needles based on the look and feel. It's not worth that. I might throw these up on eBay, or I may throw these up on Etsy. We will see what I feel like doing, but I know for now that this isn't sustainable with this many pins in that little box. And lastly, I have got these. So these are, look like Stopgaren Fluorect Netherlands fabric. So these come from the Netherlands, and it doesn't say much else. I'm assuming this is cotton cloth, as is this one. So I have two of these. Now they fooled me because the picture on the box was these two coming out of the top of the box. So it looked like the whole container was these. So I thought I was getting a bunch of thread, but I wasn't. I got a bunch of needles, but I'll make my money. I'll definitely make money back on that. So here's the complete haul. Whoa, but that was loud for you guys. Here is the complete haul of everything. I've got my, get rid of all the stuffing. Okay. Make a pretty little picture. All the sewing supplies, all my skulls, all these marbles, which I'll just not let roll around because those were not pricey, but not cheap. Because I've never bought marbles before. Okay, so those are the marbles. And all of this silk thread going here and going here. So this is everything I unboxed, and this is all going to, I believe, go on Etsy.